Pine tree to palm tree. This is your host, Trevor White, with his lovely co-host,
Danielle.
So hot.
Was I
So
Big Daddy
hot.
D?
Big Daddy Hottie. You look good today.
Thanks.
I like your eyes.
Thanks.
They're really pretty.
Thanks.
And I like your pants.
Thanks.
Can I try them on later?
No, you'll ruin them.
No, I'll fit in them. They're huge. You know what they remind me of? Remember the brand Django?
They are not like Django.
Just kidding. The pockets are a little smaller
They're
than Django's.
barrel jeans.
But other than that,
and
I
they're
know.
wide leg.
I
They're
am
not like Django's.
I am clearly not a fashion icon. All right. If you noticed, if you got those of you guys watching on video, I don't tend to dress in designer gear constantly.
We're back to tank top Trevor.
Not all the time. Just when we come. Oh, I'm at the beach. How do I not wear a
tank top all the time?
The fact that I'm even wearing a shirt at the beach is like, I shouldn't even be wearing a shirt. I'm gonna start doing these shirtless. How about that? I think we'd get more female viewers. That was an arrogant thing to say. I don't think so. I've been eating like not perfect lately, so I don't think we'd get less viewers. I mean, like, really, Trevor? What happened? You used to like look good and have muscles and not be chubby, but now I'm chubby.
You still have muscles.
Yeah, but they're covered up. I put a blanket on them. I did the opposite. Everyone else is getting ready for summer, and I'm like covering up for summer.
You're like, I'm gonna bulk. I'm gonna enter my bulk season.
I am actually trying to bulk though, so I don't know. The rumor is when you're going natural with no steroids, I can gain 1.5 pounds of muscle a month if I eat enough food. So
yeah,
I don't know. I still think I'm struggling to eat enough food. I don't know how to eat. I don't know how to eat more. Just shove my face full of it constantly, I guess. I don't know.
It's like, well, every 2 hours you've got to come and eat protein.
Yeah.
And carb.
Would it be enough if I just drank protein shakes?
No.
Not only, but like to supplement, does that give me? Because I get it.
I think you could maybe supplement with 2 a day, but you can't. No, because it's not
like 2 double scoops.
Like you could supplement it.
To be honest, looking at you is
muscles,
hard. Huh? Looking at you is really hard. The sun is literally right behind you.
20 yards that way.
I'm like, I don't think moving down would have had any
that
impact.
way. There's shade like right there.
Oh yeah, but there's more people there, and just doing the show in front of people. You get all weird about it. People already stare at us. And they're like, "What are these 2 yahoos doing at the beach?"
But I've kind of overcome that. I really don't care anymore.
I like it because there's a walking path right up above, right there, and people walk past. They always stare.
It's like when I was working out at the beach, and people just didn't look at me.
Yep, and you just own it. Own it.
I don't really care.
How's your week been? How's your week been so far?
Good. It's Tuesday, so it's still new.
It's a short week, but you've done a lot. You're moving. You got some big stuff coming.
I am trying to keep my momentum going.
You're not trying. You are doing it. You are keeping your momentum going.
You know what's crazy? Like when you're wanting to create stuff, you always feel like you're late and behind and not doing enough. And it's like every day I have to put myself in this place where I have to like celebrate what I am doing and say you are doing something. You're not like not doing anything. It's a mind game.
Why do you think that is? Are you comparing yourself to like what you think you should have already done?
No, I have no idea. This is a new for me in this space.
So. Yeah, you've been more productive than I've ever seen you. Like you've been more geared towards a direction than I've ever seen. Not in other areas, in fitness, like working, like something that you've always been insanely like high levels of discipline. But when it comes to just really getting your brand going and what you're doing with Iron Butterfly Fitness and some of the backside things that people don't see, right? You're doing all the stuff that nobody sees. So from everyone who follows you on social media, it's business as usual. They think that's normal, but what you're actually doing on the backside is so significant. I don't think
boring. I hate it.
No, you don't.
Can I hire somebody yet? No, I don't make enough money, so we're not going.
You don't hate it. You don't hate it.
There are certain things that
you're doing.
Not enjoying.
Well, I work with entrepreneurs. This is what I do for a living. Like I coach entrepreneurs to do cool things with their business. And watching you and what you're doing, you're in the heart of it, just like some of the entrepreneurs I work with that make millions a year, personal revenue. Like you're doing the same things and moving through it, which I think is just a powerful, like I talked about this earlier. I might have been over the weekend, but like just the idea that it's a matter of just doing the things, and we're not really special in any way, shape, or form. It's if you do the same things that somebody else did, you're going to get the same result. It's just a matter of if you'll do it long enough and more consistent enough. And that's the thing that rubs off, because people just don't do it. Like you'll stop doing it and you won't do it. But I'm watching you in the thick of this right now, and you're doing it. Like you're literally doing the thing, and you're doing the thing that most won't do, and nobody can see it. So everybody sitting outside has no idea what you're actually building, or that you're like a day or two away from your first launch of something that's a pretty dang big deal. And I know we're not gonna talk about that really on today's show, because we got part two of 77 or die. I don't know what we called it. 77. What's your 77? That's right. That's what we called it. All right. So we got to roll through and finish that story, but you're doing awesome stuff. So I wanted to acknowledge you, just for listeners and for you to know I see it. And I work with entrepreneurs all the time, and half the time I can't get them to make any moves, and these guys are paying me a lot of money to punch them in the face and get them to do stuff. You're doing more than most of them right now. You're staying dedicated to it, and you're moving forward, and that's what it takes. I mean, you think about all your clients that you coach in fitness. If they want the results they want, they just have to do what it takes.
Yep.
Or give up on what you want.
Yep.
Yeah. If you don't want it, if you're not willing to pay the price to get the 6-pack, then don't say you want a 6-pack and go eat a donut. And be happy about the donut. Enjoy it. Love it. Embrace it. And donuts are good. So I don't disagree with that.
Don't talk about donuts, because that's going to make me want one.
You don't like donuts, do you? Only time I've ever seen you really like donuts was after your show.
It changed me forever. I really enjoy donuts now.
You were like, man, it was Krispy Kreme or die.
Like the next show, I don't ever want I don't want a crumble cookie ever again. I want Krispy Kreme.
I know we tried the crumble.
Donuts, and I just take one bite out of each of them.
I was disappointed with the crumble cookie.
Oh, it was the most disappointing.
It's not that I don't think Crumble's a great business and a great company, so good for Crumble. But like, I was just it wasn't what I expected.
I'm kind of over their cookies, and it wasn't the reward I wanted.
No, but the donuts, that whole dozen of Krispy Kremes that we got, all of us, even though I wasn't in the show or in the cut, I was getting out. I'm like, these are good. Let's go. Let's make this happen. Okay,
I know.
Amazing. I loved it.
So personally, like next show, no crumble. We're going Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme all the way. All right, that's a plug.
All the way.
This is not an ad. This is not an ad for Krispy Kreme, except go get yourself some Krispy Kremes after you've done something physical. They don't have those on the island, so that's probably a good thing. Probably.
Well, I'm not tempted by a donut.
No, I'm talking about for me.
Oh, well, for you.
For me, because I'd probably be tempted a little bit more.
You eat your donut. You have donuts. Your donuts come in a box.
No, but they're not good.
They're shipped over.
I love donuts so much. They come from a truck stop. Guys, I don't know, on the mainland, if you're watching this on YouTube, if not, get over to YouTube so you can comment, because I want to see a comment on this. Has anyone else loves the truck stop? They make bread and donuts here on the island. It's the truck stop. Like, who heard of it? The truck stop has a bakery, and that's the only donuts I can get here. The ones they're all right. They're like, all right, but I just love those cake donuts, and I just want to eat one. That's my only option. It's very disappointing, because do you know the brand I really like?
I don't know the brand.
I can't say it right. I always say it wrong, but it's Etmans or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the Etmans brand.
They all look the same to me. So.
Well, they are not the same. That was that's like that's a sin of all sins. So, all right. Well, you look good. You're doing amazing. I haven't seen you all day. I've been on client calls all day, and I do client calls in a tank top. Just kidding. I don't. I went to the gym too. So that's why I have a tank top on now. And I just rushed home, interrupted you in the middle of filming your other podcast so that we could come out here and film this podcast. So, yeah, we're not doing anything with our lives. We just sit around and do nothing. It's really fun. It's very exciting to sit and do nothing.
I did take a nap in the swing today, though.
You did. I was glad you did. You took some advice.
Well, it's only because you gave me permission. I still have this barrier against like being lazy if I need a nap. Just you shouldn't. But I always feel better after I take a nap. Like I was really tired today. I haven't slept really great the last few nights. So, but. Yeah.
That's what happens when you stay up till after midnight watching Cobra Kai.
Hey, I was with my BFF.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
So here's the thing, though. But here's the thing. When I was younger, I stayed up till 2 o'clock watching things like that with my sisters.
Yeah.
Lyric doesn't have sisters to do that with.
Well, I knew the second.
I am her sister and her mother and her best friend. So I have to sacrifice.
All the things.
A huge part of me wanted to go to bed with you. But then I was like, she was wide awake because she took like a 2-hour nap at 5 p.m.
Yeah, not good.
And she just was like so cute. And we were like cuddling on the couch. And I was like, who else is she going to do this with?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, it's you. So, well, I knew because I had to check, it was like 9:15. I'm like, I'm going to go get ready for bed. I knew there was no chance because I knew she wasn't tired, and I'm like, you are not coming to bed with me, no matter. I don't even care because you're gonna stay up with her because that's like a cool, cherished moment to be able to spend with her.
So
and
like normally she wouldn't be staying up that late.
Right.
But she has no school, and
yeah,
so I just had to concede to where I was like, well, I'm just not gonna go to bed early, but it's fine.
it's fine, and
it's worth it.
It is. It was good. But then took the nap. You're doing great. You're amazing. I'm super proud of you.
Thanks.
So so let's carry in where if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I'm going to suggest you pause this, go back to last week's, listen to that one because this is going to be a continuation of the 77-mile adventure that you and I went on around the island of Kauai. This would have been what, 2 weeks now? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I know it was March 1st.
Oh, that's right. So, so I guess a little over 2 weeks because it's like, what, the 17th or 18th or something? I don't know. Something 18th?
It's the 18th.
Some
yesterday was St. Patrick's Day when we're filming this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the 18th.
So it's the 18th. Okay. So it was what? So it was 18 days ago that I did this adventure around the island. And in episode 1, it was a shorter episode. We only got to 10 miles into this 77-mile adventure. And then it started raining on us. So we had to cut it short. Our cameras were getting wet. We were worried about everything getting ruined. So we audibled and said we're going to do a round 2. So round 2, here we go. And to get us into this, Danielle has prepared a song that she wants to sing just to get us started. So go ahead, Danielle.
Do your ears hang low?
She didn't actually have a song. I was making that up. I just wanted to see what she would do. I zoomed the camera right in on you. It was like all focused.
I was ready though.
Like, I know you didn't just like not sing. You sang.
I thought about doing actions, but there's too many people.
Yeah, people definitely would have been looking at you.
Actually, I didn't want to get out of my chair. I would have done it in front of people anyways. I just didn't want to get up.
Well, we're not going to start with a song, but we are going to start with, we finished up mile 10. And mile 10 is where I was totally exhausted, but we found the solution, which was sit in the car, cool down, ice packs. We're ready to go. And that was a point which, too, you also said, hey, let's not go 5 miles. I think we both kind of agreed. Maybe I think you told me. I don't remember. But we both were like, let's go shorter. So it was 3 miles was now the bridge, so I could get there sooner. And so I start out. I remember I was at this point, we're 10 miles in. I'm in Waimea, right? No, I wasn't quite to Waimea. Or was I?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd gotten to Waimea because
I
remember sitting right by the theater, sitting in the car, and I was like literally dead. And I think it said last week how I looked. Like I felt like death, and I was like exhausted. And I'm just like, holy crap. So I hydrate like it's crazy, cool off, and then I start again. And what was different when you saw me come that next 3 miles? Because it was just 3 miles to get to you this next time. Was anything different? Did you notice anything?
Well, you were night and day different. You basically when you got in the car at 10 miles, your eyes were like glazed over, like you were super red. You looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then when we shortened it and we cooled you off, like you actually, like your energy, you had tons of energy. Your color was really good. You were like smiling and cracking jokes. So I think we figured it out that just during the heat of the day, we needed your aid station just needed to be closer.
Yeah. And well, it was just, and that's what it was. It was being able to not overheat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I knew. I'm like, man, I've got the nutrition. I've got the hydration. What I didn't have was just that heat. And there was nothing to do. I had this stupid, dumb straw hat thing that didn't work. And I was wearing a shirt the whole time to try to protect and cover. And so I was sunscreened up. I did everything we could, but it was so hot that day. So hot. It was like 85 and whatever.
I got to give the sunscreen a plug.
Yeah.
I've never lived anywhere like this where it's like sunscreen's pretty important, but like you were in the sun all day.
Direct sunlight.
We reapplied several times, but you never got sunburned.
You only reapplied one time.
Yeah. And like I made sure I got your ears, but I was like really worried. I'm like, he's gonna freaking just start burning, and I won't so good job, sunscreen.
I know, it was pretty impressive, especially because I was sweating like crazy.
Yeah, I was.
So I'm
dripping I was curious.
wet.
I'm like, oh, he's gonna take his shirt off and still have a shirt. You didn't even have a shirt line.
Nope,
like you legit don't even have a line for your shirt.
Like I literally, which was interesting.
I was impressed.
Yep,
so use your sunscreen, you guys.
So sunscreen works.
It works.
It might cause cancer, but it keeps the sun from burning you.
From giving you cancer, you'll just get cancer.
You get
from
a different kind of cancer.
I think sunscreens come a long way.
I do too, and I think people are weird, and they'll blame anything on cancer. People try to tell me my diet drinks give me cancer. I'm like, whatever.
Aspartame.
Give me cancer. I'm about to die. I'm about to die, but actually not, because I don't actually think that's a thing. But maybe it is. Science will probably tell me different. Whatever. Who cares? That's nothing to do with the story today. So the next kind of pivotal moment, so we just kind of piggyback like that. And the next moment was really cool is we got, you're communicating with everybody through text. I'm not responding to anything. I have my phone on me to track my map my run or whatever, but I don't have any locations that are like, I'm not responding, but you're communicating with everybody on where I'm at, kind of where things are going and all that. And I hit the treacherous hill of death, which is from Hanapepe up to Kalaheo. And it's like, I don't know, you stopped once I'm in the middle of it, but it's uphill for like 8 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, something like it's a ways, right? And it's brutal. So you kind of helped me in that one. But then I come around the corner. I was running right by our church. And all of a sudden I come around the corner, and here I have to tell you something. So I was coming up and cresting, and I saw someone there. They were like, I could tell they were like looking to see if someone was coming. So
you started running, didn't you?
So I immediately started running.
I knew it because I pulled over, because I drove past and they waved me down, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was a lot of our friends. It was like 6 of our friends. And they waved me down. So I went and parked. And I went, and Lurk was with them, and I was expecting you because you were walking the hills.
Yeah, and it was a hill. It was a big hill.
So
but
I see you coming around, and Sonia saw you, and she was like, there he is. And then in the video, I actually say, oh my gosh, he's actually running, because you normally were walking.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because I'm all, he's totally running because
you
of his
told them the same thing.
section.
You told them that we were just walking I was just walking the hills.
Yeah.
And so but I saw, and it was enough that they didn't see me. And so I knew that. Like, I realized, I'm like, oh, I've got to be running. I can't be freaking So I ran a little bit.
I was laughing so hard.
Coming up. You didn't know at the time, did you? Did you think maybe I knew?
Oh, no.
Were there?
I figured you saw us and you were running.
Did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I know you. I figured, just because 2 stops earlier, you saw my phone up, or you saw me parked and you thought I was filming, so you started running up the hill.
Well, I ran up the hill. I did, because I thought you were going to be filming for the Instagram or something. And I'm like, I can't be walking up to the car. I'm like, I got to, even though it's a big hill, I'm like, I'm going to run it. And then I run it, and I get up there only to find out you weren't filming. What were you doing?
Just peeing on the side of the road.
Yep. There it is, folks. We've dropped it. That is happening. Literally, she dropped it. Like, actually dropped it. So she wasn't filming.
It was an emergency. All right. It was an emergency.
I know. Well, I'm still vain. I still wanted to look good. So I wasn't but at some point during this run, that fell apart, meaning I didn't care anymore about any of that. Like, I was like, I'm surviving and do the best that I can. But so anyhow, so we get there. It was really cool. There was maybe 6 or 7 people there, our friends with their
they're all cheered on.
Cheering us on. That was great to see them, and you and all of that. And then that also came, that was like, they were like right at the top of the hill. So started running again, and I was excited because you had said that you were going to get some burger. You're going to get a burger, because they were telling you about this burger place, but I guess that it was ended up being closed or something when you went.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about places here is they have very specific hours. A lot of places,
do.
So
like super random, weird hours.
It hadn't opened up yet, even though it was literally right in the middle of the day on a Saturday where people eat lunch, but they just weren't open yet. So I was going to get you a burger from the Kalaheo Cafe, but
yeah, and at that point I was about 20 miles in.
Yeah.
So when I was at the place, I was about 20 miles in there, and still doing strong. My body was still working great.
Yeah.
Everything was working. My legs had relaxed from kind of a little bit of tightness right at the beginning. You'd pounded me out on the side of the road before we got there. We kind of left that out, which was kind of funny. So you're sitting there with the Theragun, pounding my hamstrings. I'm standing beside the car, just pounding my hamstrings. But it legitimately, when I looked at, I think you set up your camera or something, your phone.
I put the phone in the door of the car because I wanted to just capture.
Yeah. So when you're doing, but
it
even
looks like
from
I was
that
sticking
angle,
it up your butt for sure.
It totally looks like you're just tagging me right in the butt.
Looks like I'm literally pounding you.
Yeah. And so the people are driving past, like everybody's like looking over, like, what in the world is going on here? These 2 crazy yahoos. I'm not sure what's happening. So anyhow, so we're going, and I'm feeling strong, right? So everything's working. My body's working great. I'm walk. It's like a speed walk / run up the hills. I'm still being able to keep a good pace. And there's this one hill that I'm going up, and all of a sudden, somebody comes just beside me on the shoulder and passes me. And I'm about 26, 27 miles in. So I'm basically at a marathon at this point. And I'm walking the hill, but it's almost to the top of the hill, but I'm walking and this guy passes me and I'm tired, obviously. And so I'm not like fully, he passes. So my brain is not processing exactly what's happening other than someone's passing me.
And he was wearing
flip-flops.
And
then I look down and I see he has flip-flops on and my mind is still just like, that's so weird that someone would be out here running. And he runs past me, like gets probably 5-10 feet ahead of me. And then he turns around and then I see who it is. And it's one of my friends, Spencer. And he was out there and his wife had actually dropped him off because they were headed into Lahui. They were headed into town and she dropped him off just behind me.
Well, and she was also part of the cheering committee.
Yep, she was part of the cheering squad. And so he runs and catches up. And then we ran together for a little bit. But he's running his flip-flops and his slippers. I see there's a mainlander still coming out at me calling them flip-flops. Nobody here calls them that.
I do.
You're kind of like, you're definitely an outsider if you call them flip-flops here. Everybody's like, those are slippers or slides. That's it. But anyhow, so he's running with me, and that was cool to have him there because I had a lot, like several people be like, hey, I'll pace you. Like you need a pacer for the run. And I didn't want to, we've talked about on the show, like I wasn't sure. I was like, no, I just want to do this by myself. Like it's not about finding a pace, any of that. But I will say, having him there at the marathon level at 26 miles, it was really cool. It was nice to have him. He only ran with me for like 5 minutes. It wasn't very long. Then he took off and left, and then there I go, just trucking along. And then about 2 hours later, they were coming back into town, or back from town, back home, and they see him, and Spencer's literally hanging almost completely out the window, like half his torso. And he's a big guy, he's like 6'8". Half his torso is hanging out the window, and he's like, yeah, like waving at me as they go through. But really, up to this point, everything's been pretty good on my body. My body hasn't really hit much of a wall until I just hit a level of fatigue when we got into Lahui. It was right around mile 30, if I remember right. You were in a parking lot, and I was scouring for you. Like I was looking, where is she at? Because I knew we were close. I knew I was close to the mileage of where I should see you, and I'm just looking, trying to find you, trying to see. And I was just, I think the heat, my pace had still been really strong. I was averaging about 12-minute miles still at this point, and I'm at mile 30. And that may not sound like a very fast speed to any of you guys who run, but understand doing that for 30 miles.
So
go do it and then let me know.
Speaking of that, this morning on my run, I ended up stretching in the front yard. I started my run and then I ended up stretching.
Yeah.
So I
in the front yard or in the backyard?
In the front yard.
Okay.
Before I left the driveway. And so when I started running, it was like when I hit mile 1, you know how she comes on and says what your pace is, and you hit a mile.
What's your pace?
Your pace, 1 mile, 25 minutes.
Oh.
Because
you'd stretch.
I was stretching. And then by mile 2, I'd shortened it to like 18 minutes. And I thought of you. I was like, hey, I'm doing an 18-minute mile.
You're like, yay for me.
And by the 3rd mile, I dropped it down to like 15-minute mile. But because of the first part, I could never catch up to a normal time. But I laughed because I was like, hey, I would have kept up with Trevor. I was running 18-minute miles.
Yes, you would have. You would have been right there with me. It would have been amazing. That's pretty funny. Yeah, well, that's what. See, so when I did my miles pacing, it's not like I stopped it when I took a rest. My timers kept going the whole time, so it was capturing anytime I had to rest or anytime I had to. And I rested, but not really. I mean, I just cooled down, or I would grab some food and some hydration for, maybe you would massage. And there was one time, where did you my shoulder? So was at this point, mile 30, when my shoulder was hurting?
No, I think it was later.
That was later? Okay. Mile 30, I just remember being wrecked, and I was so
You were wrecked,
hot,
but you hadn't really eaten very much.
I hadn't had a lot.
I had a burger for you.
That was the best Burger King Whopper I have ever had in my whole life, and I'm pretty confident that's what it was. I was just fatigued. I didn't have enough food. I was eating the gels, doing all that, but it was hitting me. But I ate that
something
Whopper.
Solid.
It was. I'm telling you, Whoppers aren't that good. That one was so good. Like it was just. But when I ate the Whopper, I didn't want the fries. I had no desire for the fries because you got fries too, and I think you got a Diet Coke, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And a couple sips of that, which was good. But yeah, that Whopper, and it was weird. It was weird to feel what happens when what goes down, because my body, like, just came back alive. If that makes sense. Like it was like, oh, we're dead, we're gonna die, and I'm sitting there in my mind. I'm like, I'm only 30 miles in. I'm not even half freaking way.
Yeah.
I'm not even halfway, and I'm already just like, oh my gosh. And it's not that I had I wasn't gonna quit. Like there wasn't like, oh, my body's not gonna work. That's also where my left knee started hurting.
Yeah.
It was right
I remember
around
you
there, just
complaining
a
about that.
little bit. It started hurting there, but it was weird. My body literally just woke up. It was like it was like a power up. I was like
Imagine
Mario.
that. Food is fuel.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
You gotta like eat to like live and survive and do things.
Yeah, that's so
And
surprising.
when you're not eating, you don't really have a lot of energy.
Yeah, well, and at this point, at 30 miles, I've probably burned, I don't know, 5,000 calories running, whatever it would be. I don't remember what it was, but it was a lot. And so I've burned a ton of calories. There's no way I'm eating that many calories as I've burned. I'm eating the most of that I can. But at that point, I don't think I'd eaten anything real. I'd eaten the little waffles and the gel packs.
A really dry peanut butter and honey or jelly sandwich I made you.
Oh, that's right. That's when I expected the first burger.
Yeah, because
you were going to go get it, but
so
they
I ran
were
home
closed.
and grabbed food because
that's right. And I couldn't even.
I was weird by the house.
I couldn't even hardly eat that thing. That was so hard to eat.
So while you were running, like, walk me through like what you listen to, like when someone runs that long, like what is the thought process at this point? Had you had like weird internal dialogue? Were you listening to podcasts? Were you listening to music? Like, what did you listen to keep yourself occupied while you're running?
So to start out, I listened to Andy Frisella. And he's your
hyped man.
Yeah, I like him. I like his podcast. And I'd kept a couple of them off. Like I hadn't listened to him during that week because he does a couple a week. And I hadn't listened to him up to this point on purpose so that I had them to listen to. But that was only like 3 hours. It was like 3 hours of the run so far. And so then I switched over and what did I start listening to next? I tried listening to some Joe Rogan stuff. So it was like podcasts is what I was going after. Music, I had no desire to really listen to music. And at this point, and then I switched and I actually I've listened to David Goggins' books, both of his books. And so I started his first one again. I don't remember the name of it right off the top of my head right now. So I started that one and I listened to probably 3/4 of that book. So probably the next 8 hours was that book. But right around mile 30, I was kind of done listening to anything. Like it got to, I just was like, I'm done with this. Like it's annoying me to have this in. And so I think I'm pretty sure I still had my headphones and still rocked them at mile 30. And so I didn't take them out then, but I think I switched to music at that point. And the music I would listen to was like, I had Disturbed. Actually, I don't think I listened to anything but Disturbed, right? The station on Pandora. So I just listened to that. And just different songs and whatever. But really, what was interesting up to this point, there's been no inner dialogue really at all.
You were just kind of like going?
Yeah, I was just like doing the thing. And it was there was a part of me that was almost kind of sad about it because I was like, this is supposed to be this big spiritual revolution breakthrough. It's why I'm doing this. God, I know you told me to do this. And now I'm doing it. I'm doing this thing. I'm doing what you asked me to do. But I'm not getting anything. Like, it's literally just me. And I'm like, why am I not breaking down? My body's getting pushed hard. Everything's like pushing me, but I'm like, I'm not hitting any kind of wall. That mile 30 was the first kind of wall, but even then it wasn't like I expected, right? I was expecting, because I watched my brother do it. I watched him do ultras and I've watched him hit some walls and I watched what happens when he hits those walls. Like, it's like you hit a wall and it's like you melt in a puddle on the ground and you just can't even move. And then all of a sudden you find a new gear and you get up and you move and it's like so inspiring to watch. And I was like, oh, that's going to be me at some point. And not coming. So up to this point, no inner dialogue, no facing of my darkness, which is what I've expected. I'm expecting this whole time, a war. I'm really expecting a war, right? We talked about it many times on the show and off the show. I was expecting some kind of a battle with my dark side, right? The version of me who was going to like talk me down. And then like, I genuinely expected to actually have to fight a spiritual war. Like, that I would genuinely be onslaughted by things that are unseen as I tried to accomplish the thing that God had told me to do. I expected these things because I've experienced it before many times, not just once or twice. It's been a common thing for me. Unfortunately, however you want to look at it. And so nothing at mile 30, nothing's happened at this point. But I did say to you, I'm like, man, it is killing me to run. So I was like, I might have to walk for a minute and like not run at all, flats or hills or anything, like downhills, any of that stuff. And so when I took off from that mile 30, sun's still up. What time was it? Probably 5.
Yeah, it was close to setting.
Yeah, it was close. It was about 5 because by the time we got to the next benchmark, which we jumped it now because the sun had gone down, we went up 4 miles.
Yeah, we went back to 4
miles. Okay, yeah. So we got to the 4 miles, and we get to the 4 mile realm or whatever, and sun's get it's cresting, so it's probably 5:30, something like that. My knee's killing me, but it's not enough that I would stop doing anything, and I was able to run and all that. What was kind of sketchy about the whole run and period in general is the fact that there is a shoulder, but there's a lot of places that there is not a shoulder that's very big, and you have a guardrail that you're running up against, and the shoulder's only like maybe 2 feet wide.
Yeah.
And the traffic on the road that I'm running on, its speed limit on most of it is 50 miles an hour. So you got these cars buzzing by you at 50.
You know they're not going 50. They're probably going like 40.
Okay, well, yes.
Let's be honest.
Most of the
no
times,
one in Kauai
yes.
drives the speed limit.
Either way,
they're all like
even
10 miles an hour under.
Yes, but at
or
40,
worse.
at 40 miles an hour, I still die.
I know.
I don't survive that one at 40. So, but yeah, so you're right. So, but it still sketches me out. And there's places.
Yeah.
There's some of the bridges where the bridge comes out and there's like 6 inches of travel. That's it. Like, so
Yeah.
there was a couple I had to stop and wait until there's a break in traffic. And the problem is when you've run that many miles, when you stop running, it's not like you would if you stood up today and I said, "Go run quickly to that bush over there." You'd be able to do it no problem. But when your legs are so worn out at that point, and now I'm over 30 miles when some of this stuff's happening, and I'm having to then all of a sudden run fast, like actual speed.
To get out of the way.
It's like not there.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird, and your body screams at you in every way possible. It's like, no, it's not happening. Blah, blah. So I call you. I call you maybe 2 miles in, and you were going to go to the bathroom or something, so you hadn't passed me yet to do the leapfrog. But I called you, and I'm like, hey, it's getting too dark. I don't feel safe. Like I'm like, it's sunset faster than I think we thought it was, and I'm like, I don't want to run another mile and a half where we were going to meet up or whatever.
Yeah.
In the dark. So that's where we flipped on I had the headlamp and the butt lamp and the reflector, all the things. I'm sure I looked amazing. No, you know what's so funny about the whole experience as far as visually looking at myself, looking at footage back? I look pudgy. I had this pooch in my abs because I was so distended. I don't know. And I got bloated everywhere. So it was like,
well, your body was under stress, so it just starts retaining water.
Oh, it was retaining everything.
Inflamed and all the things.
Yeah, and I was super hydrated. That's one thing. Even up through that whole day,
Yeah.
I drank so much that I, not to get gross, but I had to pee a couple times, and it was crystal clear. So I was like, okay, good. I'm staying hydrated. I'm doing okay. I don't think I'd even gotten a headache or anything at this point. Something you gave me pain meds, but I think it was later. Maybe it was during the day. I can't remember. When was it?
That's about when I started giving you pain meds. Was right after Lahui. But what's interesting to me is that you expected it to be hard, and knowing you the way I know you, you just expect everything to be hard.
Yeah. Which
is interesting because like it is hard, but it's only as hard as we choose to make it. And
what do you mean?
Like just with your run, like it was physically hard, but I think that's why I asked you what was going on in your mind, like what like psychologically was happening up to 30 miles. Because like even running 30 miles is a big deal. That's a lot of people don't run 30 miles. And you were like disappointed that it wasn't harder for you. And
genuinely, I was.
I think it's interesting that we approach things that are challenging and we just expect them to be hard. But what if we just shifted the story of this is going to be exciting, and if it's hard, great. But like, I don't know. That's just something that hit me while you were talking is like, why are you disappointed that it wasn't more challenging for you mentally? It's interesting.
It's a good question. I think it's because going into it, my intention was for it to be really hard. I wanted it to break me. I genuinely wanted to be broken. And I don't think there's very few human beings that can understand that. Anyone I've told that to, they don't get it. I could tell them in the conversation they don't understand what I'm talking about. They're like, what? That makes no sense. So I think that's why, maybe. But you're right. In general, I expect it to be hard. Everything.
Yeah. Well, in life, like I think you wake up every day and you're like, today's gonna be a hard day.
I literally just had
have to be a hard day.
on a call with one of my group calls this morning. I literally went on a rant for probably 10 minutes about choose hard.
Why?
Because if you choose hard now, it's easy later.
Yeah.
and you can coast through life, or you can choose to grow. And I think that's what it is. Like, I just have really bought that hook, line, and sinker, that if I can choose to put myself in uncomfortable situations that are good for me, not bad for me, but good for me, right? That the outcome on the other side is going to be good. If I can choose that, and I can choose it every single day, then when life throws hard at me, I can brush it off because I don't care. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Right? I'm telling you right now, I know this would be devastating and be really hard and all this stuff, but if my company went belly up and we lost everything and our bank accounts got completely emptied and we had to go and live in a freaking little teeny apartment that we couldn't even, government subsidized, like literally if we went to the bottom of the barrels, nobody could help us and we were just like doomed, I'd be okay. Like, my mind, I'm like, okay, cool, that's what we're dealing with now. But I've had to train that. So I think do you think I don't think it's a bad thing that I think this way. I actually really like it. So I'm curious what you think.
I think it's good because you're not afraid of doing hard, but I think there comes a tipping point where you make it hard just because you think it has to be hard.
Yeah.
Where you miss like that sweet spot of like just enjoying the journey. Because I feel like if everything is supposed to be hard and you're like disappointed or searching for hard, or you have the story that it's supposed to be hard, it's kind of like with me in training. Like a long time ago, like a lot of the ways I train is hard, but they're not hard to me. It's exciting. It's like, oh my gosh, now I get to go push. I break myself physically. Like I don't like, that's what I go for. And I switched that because I used to be the same way. Like you got to go hard, break yourself so you can like become better. But a few years ago, I had this like epiphany. I was like, I can still go hard and go to that breaking point. But what if the story around it isn't? It's different. Like that. There's like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it into words, but it's like it doesn't have to be hard, but it can be challenging.
What if
I think the word hard for me is like people avoid hard, but it's like, what if it's just challenging? Like, I don't know, like for instance, like this whole week today, there were several times of my day where I was like, I hate this. This sucks. Yeah. But it was like, it's not hard. What I'm doing is not hard. It's not hard. It's time consuming and it's boring. And I feel like I want to be past this point of the build. And there's a lot of insecurities where I'm at. But if I look at it and I kept telling myself, this is so hard. That's why I've never built like this. Because I get stuck in the story of like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
And then I like lose interest. But if I reframe it to be like, it's not hard. I just have to be consistent. And I just have to do the stuff. It's more so, it's like boring, not things that I enjoy. So like, it was just, that's why I was like, why did you expect it to be so hard? Like, instead of just enjoying the run.
When it's not that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know that I have an answer that, not that you would accept, but that would make sense to you. Because what if, right? So my narrative, my story, my belief, my like operation is I like the hard. I like overcoming. I like doing things that others can't do. That's where I find joy and happiness. When I'm not doing that, when I'm just settling in and enjoying the fruits of my labor and enjoying that, I self-destruct. I lose my mind. Yeah. After a day or two, like vacations are tough for me. It's one of the reasons why we just have not gone on a lot of them, because I've not made that a commitment, even though like I know we need to change that and go on more, but that's not for me. I don't need to go on more vacations. I don't, especially right now. Look around. If you're watching on YouTube, this is where we live. So I'm kind of on a permanent vacation location for sure. I mean, every person you've seen in the back of the cameras walking back and forth, these are all people and this is our backyard, right? So I don't know. It's tough. Is it the right way?
Because I know I don't mind hard either, and
No,
like,
I know you don't.
Never
and
back
I'm not
down
saying
from
you.
Hard,
I'm not saying you
but
shy
I just
away
find
from
it interesting
either.
that even when something's coming easy to you, you're disappointed, thinking it should be harder. Where maybe you've actually earned that pocket of, this is my hard, easy, hard.
But my mind starts grappling at that point for, okay, well, where's the hard then? How do I push harder to get to the hard? Because the hard is where I'm comfortable, I think. I'm comfortable in like I told you that about business the other day, like a week ago, which I think has a lot to do with your fire, because I think it made you a little nervous when I told you how I felt about trying to figure out why I will yo-yo a little bit in business, why I'll push really, really hard, build cool stuff, and then I'll like let off the gas, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I think I'm trying to train that out of me. And I think you're right. I could push it too hard that direction, but I think that triggered something inside of you, maybe subconsciously, because you've worked harder in the last 2 weeks since I told you that than I've ever seen you. I think you were worried. You're like, what? You no, we're building. I know what I want, and it's not what you just said. And I agreed with you. And when I told you that, though, if you think about it, I was telling you because I'm like, hey, I'm not saying I'm acting on it. I'm just aware of it. I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's still in there. So I don't know. I think maybe I'm running from something. Maybe I'm running from that, and I feel like the only way to do that is to train it out of me. Right? To me, I see it as pure weakness. It's pure weakness. It's pure laziness. It's a trait I don't want. So I'm like, well, how do I train that out of me? I put myself in environments on purpose that are going to be difficult and hard for me to do. I won't want to do them. They will force me to find another gear. And yeah, I earned certain gears. Clearly I did. I trained for 6 weeks and I earned a gear that I'm at mile 30 and I'm still doing pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've earned some results, no doubt about it. But I'm like, oh shoot, there was almost a part of me, no joke, in my head that I'm like, when I was not hitting the wall, I'm like, maybe I trained too hard. I shouldn't have trained this hard, because now I'm like being able to do this. I didn't mean to be able to do this so easily. It's all relative. That was not easy in any
No.
stretch. Even at mile 30, it wasn't easy. 35, mile 40, 50, 60, none
Well,
of that was easy.
You want to know what I think? I
Yes.
think you don't give yourself the credit for how strong you are. You don't see that. So then
Agreed.
you miss it. So then you're always, it's like when you look at me and you're like, you don't see you the way I see you. Like I look at that and I look at how in other areas of your life where I'm like, you're a freaking badass, be a badass, but you're like, not. You're like, well, I don't know about this and I'm unsure here and I'm hopping here. And like, we all do it. Like we're going back and forth.
What?
But it's like,
I don't do that.
but like, that's what I saw. It was like, that's kind of what ignited in me was like, when you said, I'm like, no, like the reason you were still going strong at 30 is because of who you are, which means you could do another 30 miles. Don't be disappointed in that. Just see, I'm a badass. I got 30 more miles in me versus why is this not harder? I don't know. It's just like where my mind goes is like,
and I don't think you're wrong.
A lot of people don't see themselves the way that other people see them. Like I know I struggle with that.
Oh, for sure. Self-awareness
but I like
is
for
tough.
you, like as your wife, like I want you to be the badass, like, and show up like that and not question and not just have to keep digging yourself in a hole because you feel like you have to make yourself stronger.
Yeah.
But just going after what it's already there. You just got to freaking grab it and be like,
yeah,
it's mine.
Well, and we won't get to it on today's show, but the ever elusive mile 52,
dun, dun, dun.
A lot of that, what you're describing, I see for probably the first time in my whole life. Like, and you know, that'll be the cliffhanger for next week's show, and because we'll get time to get into it then. But yes. Now, what do I do with that? I don't know. I truly don't know, because I still have a very, very deep desire to do hard stuff. Like my mind literally when I finished the race was, okay, what's next?
Which I think is fine.
Like, what's next? What's the next thing? And it was like, what's the thing to do? And my mind was even like, could I do it again? Let's do it again. Should I do it again? Maybe we should do it again. I'm like, no, I don't need to do it again. I realized that was just a kind of a weird thought. But then I'm like, well, what's next? What's the next thing?
I think the hard next thing is what you're currently doing.
100%. And that's what I've taken all of every part of this hard, and I've positioned it in a different area of my life. I'm like, okay, let me do this and push it over here. Let's see if that could be hard. Like it's being able to cascade what I kind of saw and learned inside of that, and truly was able to see who I really am, and really what I actually am capable for, and truly be able to see it, which was it was life changing. This was a life changing experience, but up to this point, and we're probably about 35 miles now at this point in the run. I have not experienced that. To me, I was still waiting for it to be hard.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid because it was hard. The whole thing was hard. Like I'm already beat up. I mean, but I'm still waiting for. I don't want it to just be hard. I need to be broken.
I think in your mind, you had this visual of when you were with your brother and he like collapsed to the ground.
For sure.
And he was like wailing and crying and like hitting, like literally rock bottom. And I think you expected that, right? Yes? No?
For sure. I was expecting
because that was your experience
like
around someone breaking,
I
like when you were with your
I'm
brother.
I'm driving the Navigator. He's like right beside me in the middle of the road with the Pacer. And he's running, and he comes around the corner, and he comes up this little park. I can see the whole area. It's the middle of the night. It's a residential area, but there's this park. He comes off this park. He's coming running down, and he stops. First time I'd seen him stop moving. In the whole, I don't remember how the distance now, but it's like first time I'd seen him stop. He stops, and then he just drops to the ground. And he's like screaming and crying. And it was like I saw this little boy. Never seen my brother that way. Like I've always looked up to him in a way, but I saw this little boy sitting there. It was like, it wasn't him. It was this little boy. It was like the 10-year-old him all of a sudden showed up. And everybody around him saying, dude, if you're done, it's okay. You can be done, bro. Like this can be, and he sits there and he's wallowing in it. And everyone's just kind of giving space, but also giving him permission to be done. I'm sitting in the Navigator and he didn't get out. I'm sitting there looking, and I don't know if I've told you. I tell you, him and I talked about this like probably a year ago.
I don't think so. I just know that story that you just said is that
So I'm sitting there watching him, and I don't know, and I'm thinking maybe somebody had said something to him because there was two guys out there with him. I was driving the car, and there's two people out there with him, and all of a sudden he just kind of like pushes up, and he's like, "I'm not done. I'm not done." Gets up and goes. All of a sudden just goes. His Pacer just like takes off with him. The other guy comes, gets back to the Navigator. I start pulling out. I didn't know this. Like I'm sitting there watching him. Now Garrett tells me about this like a year ago. This is like recently, maybe 2 years ago. But he says we were talking about that moment, that experience. And I told him what I saw. And he's all, what's crazy is, yeah, everything you saw and I was experiencing, he was getting attacked. He was getting attacked from outside forces. Like the darkness was on him, and he was just getting onslaughted in this place because his body was just done. He'd hit the wall. He broke like I was expecting me to break, right? And he breaks, but then he's sitting there, and he looks over, and he sees me in the Navigator with my white hat. I had a white hat similar to this white hat. I'm sitting there, but it was covered. I don't know if you remember it. It was the one that ended up getting so torn up.
Oh, yeah. It was the white hat.
Yeah. So I have that hat on. It's all front. It's really low like this. And I'm sitting over looking at me. And he just saw me, looked at me, and knew he wasn't done. So like in that moment, it was like, and he rises up and I watch him go. And I was so inspired. I was just watching. I'm like, holy crap. Wow. What did you look? I've never seen anything like that. Because he was done. And then he wasn't. It was like he magically turned into this. He was no longer the little 10-year-old. He turned back into the man I knew him to be back then. And I'm like, there he goes. I'm like, holy crap, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've shared that story so many times with so many environments because it's so inspiring to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was hunting that down. Right? That was what I was hunting down. And so, mile 35, I didn't see it yet. I don't know where we go with that because I don't know what it needs to be. I don't know how I navigate past that. I'm in a different spot than I was when I started the run for sure.
Yeah.
But I still have a very deep desire to make things hard. But in a productive way, not in I just want my life to be hard. Right? I'm not going to go do things that make my life hard that is bad for me.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like go do stupid things that make your life hard or things that make no sense. There's an intention behind it, but it's like even going to the gym today. Right. And what I did at the gym, it was like, well, what's going to be hard? I can do the routine I know is easy, or I can do what's hard. I'm 215 pounds. Pull-ups are freaking hard. There's a voice in my head. It's like, dude, you shouldn't do these today. Just don't do them. You don't need to. And I'm like, just because that voice came, I got to do an extra set. Well, that's what's going to happen now. So I pump out the pull-ups and I'm like, oh man, brutal. And my shoulders hurt and all these things. So I'm like, well, there's another move I'm doing. It's like a reverse axe cutting whatever chop, and it was hard. It was like, and I love it because it's like I just love challenging myself to do, and especially when I don't want to do it, like there's a part of me that doesn't want. I'm like, to me that's like an indicator. It's like, hey, you don't want to do this. Okay, cool. This is time to grow. It's time to grow.
Yeah.
As soon as that voice in my head says this isn't something we want to do, don't do this, Trevor. I'm like, oh, my friend, you're about to get squashed because we're going to do it, and we're going to grow, and I'm going to become better when I walk out of the gym tonight. I'm better than I was when I walked in because I chose to do hard things. I chose them, and it made it hard. It was a harder workout. I could have gone in and gone a different way with my workout. Like, you get this, you do so in the workout space. Like, this is totally your jam.
I'm excited for the moment we have a conversation where you look back at this run and see all the connecting dots of like what it created. Because you know what's going to happen. And it could be like years from now, but we'll sit down and we'll talk about it and be like, yeah, that run propelled this, it did this, it triggered this, and then we did this, and I grew this way. Because like that's how life is.
Yeah.
Like when you do hard things, God puts them in your path for a reason, because it's like we need to grow. So we pray for strength, and He's like, okay, here's an opportunity to grow. And then we get stuck in this mental capacity of like a victim of like, why am I getting hard things? But I want to be a strong person. Yeah. And so it's like and I get wanting to do hard things. Like it's like part of who I am as a person too. But there's also, I think, a place too where we can tip it to where, I don't know, like just unproductively, we make things hard that don't have to be hard. Does that make sense?
Do you think mine are unproductive? Do you think what I do is unproductive? When you just observing me, watching me, do you think it's unproductive?
No, not necessarily. I think there's some things that we, like looking back at our life, there's things that, yes, I think that they've been made hard when they're not hard, because you thrive in hard and chaos.
Yeah, but I think when I look back on some situations in life, the hard came not with conscious thought. It was like I was addicted to hard, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
I would do things that were sabotage.
Yeah.
And then it made it hard. So I didn't understand how to leverage hard. Whereas now I don't think I do that. I'm very aware of what I'm choosing to make hard. And I'm also very aware of when it's okay to be okay with this and be at peace with what's been built, what's grown, and building to that. But then leveraging, it's like I don't give myself much time to hang out there at all. Yeah. Like mentally, I'm like, I don't give it real estate in my mind. I give it, no, here we go. I'm choosing to go after this thing right now, whatever it is, to consume my mind in the hard. It's like leveraging that, but it does become tough to balance it, because then there's other things that don't need to be hard. And so I have to shift so quickly and audible back to like, okay, no, it's okay. We're not at war.
Yeah.
Right. We're not at war right now. It's peacetime. It's like, I'm a much better wartime general of my life than I am a peacetime general of my life.
Yeah.
Right. You give me peace, I don't really know the best way to navigate that. I don't understand. It's hard for me. I can't do it. But so then I've manufactured ways, but I don't know. So now, do you think, when you watch me over the last 2 years, the things that I've chosen to do that are hard for me, like, do you see that as a detriment? Obviously there's good that comes from it, but do you see a negative impact to our world because of how I'm doing it now? I'm super curious.
No, not over the last 2 years. But the last 2 years have just been, it's been a roller coaster. The last 2 years have been, that's hard to answer with that. I'm just looking at life.
It's just been hard in general.
So it's like, that's why I thought, I'm like, well, do you just feel like it has to be hard because it's always been hard? But then I also get nervous because like, what
actually? When did it start actually? Because our life was not like this. When did it start?
2020.
2020. COVID.
So the last 5 years has been really rough.
Yeah.
But I also feel like we're getting to a place where we're tipping the scales. I feel like we're finally tipping the scales the other direction, in just the directions we're going and what we've built over the last 2 years. But I also feel like too that if you live your life always needing hard, that you don't recognize the good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not great at celebrating.
And it's not even letting your foot off the gas. It's just recognizing, oh, this is working. I guess that's more of what I'm saying is like when things start to actually work, do we recognize that they're working because of our hard work, or are we just pushing past and not recognizing that it's because of our hard work that it's working?
Well,
and we're missing, we somehow miss it. Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, this comes to the conversation that we had a while back where I was like, look at our life right now and then look back 5 years. You would give anything to have what we currently have and the life we actually have right now. When you look at the nuts and the bolts of it, right? You look back and you're like, yeah, there's certain elements that you're like, I don't like that part of it. I know you're very rooted and you want like your feet rooted into a place and location. So moving through a wrench in that, obviously. But if you just look at the reality, and maybe go back even further than 5 years, go back 10 years and look at our current reality, it's a dream life for the 10-year-old go version of us.
Yeah,
but and I think that's what you're talking about, is being able to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Is see that, okay, what may seem like a pit or a bad place or somewhere that's not working in our life. And I think what you're describing, what we're talking about, is that you've established the new normal, right? Now this becomes the standard.
Yeah.
Just think of the standard we had for ourselves 10 years ago. There's no possible way we would survive with our current standard if you couldn't do it. It wouldn't work. It would not work. And I'm not just talking about economically. This is you and my relationship. This is us as parents, us as spouse, our connection with God and religion. All of the things, you look at the standard, it keeps rising, right? And I think that's how it's supposed to be. But I think you're right. If you don't acknowledge that, then that's tough. You'll only feel like you're like, what's that book, The Gap or whatever, right? You'll only ever feel like you're in the gap in the gain.
Yeah.
Right. You'll only ever feel like you're not
always
achieving.
in the gap. Like you're always in the gap.
You never actually are arriving at some place of peace, which is a double-edged sword, because you don't ever arrive in this life.
No.
But you have to be able to acknowledge where you've come from to see where so you can acknowledge the growth. And then I think I just spin really fast. So it's not that I don't acknowledge certain things. I just give it 32 seconds of energy, and then I spin to what I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I want to become more. I want to grow. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this run.
Yeah.
Remember, we talked about it. It was like, and David Goggins is the one that said it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to trust him. Right? Because he says you can compress 7 years of learning in 1 day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that sounds great. I don't want to have to spend 7 years to try to figure this out. What if I just spend one really horrible day? I can do anything for 1 day, right? And I proved it. And the growth and the breakthrough that I had at mile 52 that we're going to talk about next week, that doesn't happen if I don't do this run. No. And for me to get to that place, I don't know how I get there any other way. Like, I learned some things that were crazy. The narratives I was believing, everything. I mean, my whole world has shifted. It's shifted internally for me. It's really weird. I feel like a different person still. And that was 18 days ago that I had that experience. I've journaled it. I've written it down. We're talking about it here on the show, but I'm implementing the things that I learned there to build differently, more conscious, more on point with that. And I think what you're talking about that I need to really work on, and I agree, is adding that element of acknowledgement of the growth.
Yeah.
Seeing what has been created.
Well, because if you are is believing that you're not quite there or not there enough, then you're still believing the narrative that you're not enough.
Well, check this out. So last Saturday, we're at the priesthood session thing for the stake, and President Summerhays gets up there and he bears his testimony. One of the most powerful testimonies I've heard ever from him, for sure. But just in general, it was one of the most powerful. It was just, I don't even remember what he said. I just remember the power of what I felt from him when he was up there speaking. And I was just like pierced to my very heart of just what this. And then my mind goes to, well, you're not that good. He's like, well, you don't know God that much.
My case in point.
Right. So then I'm like, I know exactly. I'm acknowledging what you're talking about, because that's where my mind went. And then literally from that, I start mapping out how do I get that strong? What do I need to do? And I literally added things to my plate that are going to be hard to execute on so that I can push myself harder than I've already pushed. But that's negating and not realizing, oh my gosh, if I look at my spiritual connection 2 years ago to where it's at now, holy guacamole, it's not even in the same stratosphere.
Yeah.
And I acknowledge that. And this isn't me bragging. I'm looking at the growth and I'm like, holy crap. But in that moment, seeing that, I'm like, well, clearly I haven't done anything. I need to keep going that direction. I need to go there. And like, I saw that. I've got stacks about it, multiple in the last week, talking about this. And it's like, well, how do I get in that position?
Yeah.
I got to, in order for that, look at all these things that I'm not doing that are stopping me from getting there. And I'm like, how? So then I start feeling inferior. I start feeling like I'm not good enough. And I'm like, holy crap. But I can usually turn those feelings into action. Problem is, then I create so much action that I don't see the growth. So I have no answers for how I do that, but I actually do. Like this is actually one of the things I train my entrepreneurs on all the time, is this idea that to be able to leverage, they got to be able to leverage it this way. You have to be able to leverage it. Like you have to be able to leverage a balance between acknowledging and looking where you're at, where you've come from, and then moving forward. But I have yet to meet a high achieving individual in any area in their life that is really good at this, that this comes natural. Usually it's the average or the low achievers that have no problem acknowledging what they've done.
Yeah.
Right. They're the ones like, oh, look at me. I'm the greatest. Look what I did this. And I've arrived. Woohoo. I've made it. I'm the one. Blah, blah. Like they do this really easily.
Yeah.
But and I don't work with anyone who's not a high achiever, just because, and someone who's not a high achiever would not pay me money to do what I do with them.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't do it. So all my clients are high achievers. Everyone I surround myself with is high achieving that way in every area of their life. That's what they're striving for. And all of us struggle with this exact same thing. So for all the listeners out there, like if this is something you struggle with, good for you. That is literally, you can't fake that. That is an indicator that your natural core version of you wants more out of life. It's calling you for more. There's the soul inside of you saying, go for more. There's more for you here. Whatever that means. Like that could be in any area of your life, like whatever that is. Like you have dreams and goals and all the things you want to go after. You know, I don't know. Like, again, back to the question that I still would love to get shirts made for. What's your 77?
Yeah.
I love that idea, because what is it? Because it's not, mine was actually a 77-mile run. But what was yours? What's yours? Find your thing. Like, and I think that's, as we kind of wrap for today, we got to wrap, because if you're watching on YouTube, you can't even see us anymore.
We're like dark dots.
It's dark. You can still actually see. Look here. Look at the master. You can check this out. I'm gonna show Danielle. You can still kind of see us.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. Oh, you know, I could go and hold on. I'm gonna do something real quick.
You can see you because you're facing where the sun used to be.
Say something. I'm gonna do something here to make these brighter. Okay, go.
I don't know what you want me to say. We're gonna wrap this show up. Call it a night because I'm hungry. That's what I'm saying right now.
Oh, it's not doing anything. I was trying to. Oh, there it goes. Well, it does it the dark way.
It's probably can't pull any more light because there's no light.
That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to bring in the I turned the exposure all the way up and it didn't really change anything. All right, so never mind. So, all right, final thoughts on today's show. We're at mile 45. We talked about a bunch of cool things actually today. What's your final thoughts as we wrap?
I don't know.
All right. Well, those are some good final thoughts. I got some final thoughts for you.
You give us the final thoughts.
I'll give you some final thoughts. So, life is meant to be lived, right? And when I say what's your 77, it doesn't have to be extreme, but life is meant to be lived. And just like you heard us kind of process live with Danielle asking that very amazing question to me, that like we have choices and we can do anything we want. We really can. You can create anything you want. You can do whatever you want. And the beautiful part about this life is not every single one of us has the same desires. We don't all want the same thing, and that's amazing. And whatever it is that you want, if it's honestly what you want, man, you will find peace and happiness in going after that. But it's going to require you to do your version of 77. Anything worth having in this world is worth working for, but it's work. You have to work for it. And sometimes the work you need to do is on yourself. It's on your mindset. It's the way you think, because the way you think right now is what gave you your current reality. And if you don't like your current reality, no different, Danielle, than 2 weeks ago, me making a statement of a thought I had in my head, which I knew was the wrong thought, but I was like, that's weird that it's there. Making that decision and you saying, well, that's not okay with me. So we're not doing that. And then watching a fire ignite under you the last 2 weeks, which has put you in a position now to be able to launch some big stuff in the next day or two, which I'm super pumped to see how that all goes out. And, you know, it's amazing to watch what's happening, but it's all a story, right? And it's all finding your version of the 77. The last 2 weeks for you has been, honestly, in my opinion, partially, this is one of your 77. This is one of your things because you're pushing past and becoming different and doing things you didn't normally do in a way you've not normally done them. And so for all of you guys listening, what is yours? Like, find your thing. Like, give it some real thought and really paint the picture for yourself of what once you've identified the thing, what will it take to get it? And what do you need to put yourself, what do you need to put yourself into in order to develop that skill, right? I'm sure it's not running around an island. That's pretty unique to me. But yours is going to be something. Like something to, and maybe it's just learning a skill, right? Maybe you've always wanted to play the violin. Maybe that's like a dream. And anytime you hear someone play the violin, you're like, so amazing. But you're like 47 years old and you're like, I'm too old. I can't learn this now. Maybe that's it. And you just need to go get a violin. Go rent one from the violin store. Hire a coach and start pushing towards something that you've always wanted to do, but you just don't have the skills to do it. And here's what I'll tell you. You may want to play the violin as this example, but it's not going to be easy. So that's why that's your 77, because it's choosing to do something that's actually going to be very hard. I've played the violin a little bit. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. You played the violin, Danielle. Like, is it easy?
No.
No, it's not easy, right? So that could be any of those kind of things.
Unless your name's Majinka, then it's really easy for you because she's amazing.
Yeah, not easy for her, but she is amazing.
No, it's not
that woman
easy.
has put in
lots of hours.
Thousands of hours, right? The 10,000 hour rule. So we appreciate you guys tuning in on today's show. We dove in a little deeper to the 77, but this is a 3-part series. So you're going to have to tune in next week to find out the crux of this entire experience, which happened literally at mile 52, which if you remember from several shows ago, I said I have this feeling, mile 52. I don't know why I have this feeling, blah, blah, blah. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Mile 52 was the mile that it changed my life forever. So don't forget to tune in next week because we're going to dive in deep into mile 52 and how it changed my life and how it could change yours. So that's all we got for you today. And those of you on YouTube, you cannot see us now. And it's awesome. So you're listening. You are listening. And all right. Well, from pine tree to palm tree, have a fantastic night.
See you next week.